Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So friends, in this video we will have our discussion on the placement of your Ascendant Lord. So friends, don't get confused. Here I am talking about that in your main Ascendant birth chart, your D1 chart, the planet which becomes your Ascendant Lord. I am sure that you would be knowing the importance of this planet because this planet somehow governs your life path. But when we talk about that, what could be the luck prospects to it, how refined this planet is, and when we talk about the Navāṁśa, we add the value element flavors of Dharma to it. So for example, let's take up the case what is happening right now even in international politics. You are the president of a country, that is the job responsibility for which you have been chosen. But when you make that as like a dharmic duty, that I need to make this nation the great nation, I have to make it great again. So that kind of philosophy somehow gave rise to when the dharma aspect also come into consideration. So same is the case friends, like your D9 chart, which is the chart of your luck, which give information to your matrimonial life and the true strength of the planets. So studying the Ascendant Lord over here in this chart becomes very important. All layers of it, from your D1 Ascendant chart, the Ascendant Lord, this planet, in which house in the D9 it is placed, in which zodiac sign it is placed, in which like conjunction it is placed, all of that becomes very important. It will precisely give you information regarding your life path, your life purpose, your life calling, where your soul will feel that fulfillment. So friends, in this first part of this decoding, we will only give attention to the house placement from the D1 chart, your first house lord, your Ascendant Lord, its house placement in the D9 chart. What does it signify? And just because friends, in order to present this topic, I have taken like extract from the classics. This could be Phal Deepika, Gemini, Bṛhat, Parāśara, Hora, Śāstra, some of the quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, and blending everything, I try to present this discussion to you. So okay friends, after this, now we will shift our discussion to the narration part of this discussion. So friends, in this discussion we are trying to decode the placement of D1's Lord in the D9 as trying to establish a connection between the axis of life path, soul calling and karmic maturity. Now comes the question that why the Ascendant Lord is the most important planet in the chart. So the classical Jyotish unanimously holds that Lagna and its Lord supersede all the yogas. Lagna Adhipati Balwan Sarva Phala Prādha means if the Ascendant Lord is strong, the native enjoys the fruits of all yogas as per Bṛhat Parāśara Hora Śāstra. So friends, the Ascendant Lord in itself represents the Jiva, individual soul incarnation, Karma Kshetra. I always talk about that, your field of action, your life path. It also talks about the Deha and the Chetana, body and consciousness, and most importantly, the direction of life unfoldment. So in short, Lagna Lord in the D1 chart tells about how the soul walks through life. But the D1 shows the field and the D9 shows the maturity of the soul. So friends, the philosophical difference between the D1 chart and the D9 chart is, D1 chart on one hand talks about the external life circumstances, karma being performed, environment, body, identity, early midlife trajectory, social role and visible destiny. Now when we open up the D9 chart, Navāṁśa chart, it talks about the Dharma maturity, inner alignment, marriage of soul and destiny, strength of planets to deliver, spiritual evolution and future karma. So Rishi Parāśara clearly states that without Navāṁśa confirmation, Rāśi promise do not fructify fully. So now comes the question that, see, if you have to study the Ascendant Lord across D1 and D9, you're actually looking at the soul equation. So let us define the core rule. D1 placement of Lagna Lord tells about where life pushes you, and the D9 placement of the same Ascendant Lord from the D1 tells about where life wants to refine you. If both align, life flows. If they conflict, life tests. So this is the hidden reason, friends, why some people struggle despite good Divan yogas. Some rise late but profoundly. Some feel successful but empty, and some suffer early and awaken deeply. So now, friends, the classical interpretive framework for this is very simple. The step 1 is see the Lagna Lord in the D1, which house it is placed, which dignity it is placed in, what are the association in form of the conjunction. That will talk about the area of karmic engagement. Now the step 2 is see the same planet in the D9, where in which house it is placed, which sign it is placed. Is it exalted, debilitated, Vargotam? That will tell about the area of karmic ripening. And compare. Most important is that, is it like you are getting some same house theme? It means continuity of the karma, or different house, shift of destiny. The planet is stronger in the D9, which will talk about the late blooming, or weaker in D9, which might demand the karmic correction. So friends, the core classical principle of the Phal Deepika is Navāṁśa bala hīn graha phalam na dadati. A planet without Navāṁśa strength cannot fully give results. So even exalted Lagna Lord in D1 can fail if fallen, afflicted in the D9 chart. And conversely, ordinary Lagna Lord in the D1 can become extraordinary if strong, exalted, or Vargotam in the D9. So now friends, I'm sure that you would have watched that video of mine, but over here I will just give you a one-line analysis, like a brief advanced summary first of the Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart, right? Its placement and the house-wise karmic agenda. So for example, if the Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the Ascendant in itself, that will talk about the self-mastery, identity karma. Like the native will have this mindset to define himself, his public projection, fame prospects, I, me and self is going to be very strong. If it is placed in the second house, D1 chart, Ascendant Lord in the second house, that will talk about the family lineage, speech, wealth karma. If in the D1 chart, first Lord is placed in the third house, it will talk about efforts, courage, personal will. Nothing would be better than that. If you have like a malefic planet, like natural malefic, right? Because your Ascendant Lord is the most auspicious planet for you. But let's say for example, you are Scorpio and Ascendant Lord, Mars is placed in the third house, exalted. It is one of the very strong placement. If it is placed in the fourth house, Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart, it will talk about the inner peace, emotional samskaras, like people who end up amassing lot of the wealth, lot of the asset is seen from over here. If the Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the fifth house, it will talk about the pur punya, intelligence, mantra, interest in art, creativity. If your Ascendant Lord is placed in the sixth house, so in the D1 chart, first Lord is placed in the sixth house, it will talk about the service, healing, debt clearing, and the person could either be a lifelong like a patient with health vulnerability, or native could be a health expert, a doctor by himself. Native might be successful in the banking, interest, loaning department, or native might have lifelong debt which he has to deal with. So it is open to many interpretation, friends. But once we will take the same discussion to the D9 chart, then you will get a clearer picture. If the Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart, first Lord, is placed in the 7th house, it will talk about the relationship karma, a mirror of self. Like this could be a very good placement for someone to be successful in business, in public dealing, and very devoted to marriage. If the Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart is placed in the 8th house, it will talk about the life transformation. It will talk about interest and mastery in occult. It will also talk about, like, this could be a rebirth kind of formation. You might have your calling away from your birthplace in the foreign land. Your in-laws might play a very significant role. The regenerative power or the sexual power is going to be very strong. If the Ascendant Lord is placed in the 9th house, in the D1 chart, it will talk about the Dharma, finding your and pursuing your righteous purpose. It also talk about someone who could be very much devoted to knowledge, philosophy, publishing, writing, higher learning, higher wisdom, and capacity to live life as per the divine standards. Ascendant Lord being in the 10th house, it will talk about the karma yoga. It can actually make someone very responsible, very dutiful. Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart in the 11th house, it will talk about the collective karmas. It will talk about the gains. Life will keep on consistently improving. Obviously, friends, it is the upachya bhav. Your life will grow. Whatever you deserve, that might work out in the second half of the life. And a lot is dependent on the dasha as well. Obviously, if you get a dasha of like planet like Jupiter, or you get dasha of planet Venus and all, then you might find your calling or success early. But let's say, for example, at the prime of your life, you get the dasha of the Saturn, then you have to keep on working hard. And friends, Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart being placed in the 12th house, this talks about the moksha oriented life, like surrender to the divine laws, divine wish. So friends, but this is only the stage. The real script is written in the D9 chart. So now we will try to understand. Okay, I don't want you to get confused. When I say in the D9 chart and I use the term Ascendant Lord, I'm using the term of the D1's Ascendant Lord. So let me give you a very simple example. In my chart, I'm a Aries Lagna, and in my D9 chart, I'm a Cancer Lagna. So when I say look at the Ascendant Lord in the D9 chart, I'm referring here that from the D1 chart, my Ascendant Lord is Mars. You have to see the placement of this Mars in the D9 chart. That's what I mean, okay? So let's start our discussion. So key question which D9 answer is, what kind of person does life want you to become? So because D9 houses unfolds the inner destiny. So for example, if in the D9 chart, your same Ascendant Lord from the D1 chart is placed in the first house, it will talk about the self-realized identity. It will also talk about the inner authority. So friends, let's say for example, if I were to say what you get to know from this placement, the deeper nuances of it. So you cannot just keep on saying this thing that, okay, I keep on violating the laws, ethics, because everyone does that. No, because your Ascendant Lord from the main D1 chart in the D9 is placed in the first house. That means you have to follow the protocol. You have to follow the ethics. Don't go by the fact that what others are doing. They might have different placement, but your placement, just say that you have to walk the talk. Now let's say for example, if the same planet from your D1 chart, your Ascendant Lord in the D9, it is placed in the second house, it will talk about the value system purification. So this also tells about that you might have a potential to do a lot for your family. Like you will add lot of values to your family, and only if you will follow the family ethics, code, conduct, you can actually be blessed, or you could actually reinforce your luck as well. If from the D1 chart, your Ascendant Lord in the D9 is placed in the third house. So friends, it talks about the tapas. It talks about the sadhana. It talks about the disciplined effort. So that in itself tells about that for your life circumstances and situation to improve, you have to keep on putting consistent efforts. You cannot just expect life to turn around just by one or couple of attempts. You have to keep on consistently trying for what you have set yourself, like your goals, your life path. And generally friends, we say that with the third house there is a potential of self-initiated efforts. So like the way we say that only when you will raise your one hand, divine will come to your rescue, or if you will take the first step, divine, omens, universe, nature will come to your support, will come to your aid. But first step is something which you have to take by yourself. I keep on coming across a lot of those cases where people say, Nipun, I do not know, I did not have any plan, and without having a proper security, safety, any acquaintances. I just took that call and I moved to Mumbai to try my luck in the movies. I moved to Canada to start a fresh life, and luck actually supported them. But the first step you have to take on your own. We say that the luck support the brave, right? So this is what is this placement is telling about. Now friends, if from your D1 chart, your D1's ascendant lord in the D9, the same planet is placed in the 4th house, it will talk about the inner peace as destiny. So all what matters for you is that the groundedness, stability, equilibrium in the life, balancing every aspect of the life becomes very important. And only if you are at peace, I can say that your life purpose will keep on unfolding itself to you. In the D9 chart, friends, if it is placed in the 5th house, so from your ascendant chart, D1 chart, the ascendant lord is placed in the 5th house in the D9. It will talk about divine intelligence. It will talk about interest in mantra and the jnana, knowledge and the wisdom. If your D1 chart's first lord is placed in the 6th house in the D9 chart, it will talk about the spiritual service. It will talk about the ego dissolution. So till the time you will not keep on putting efforts, you cannot expect any turnaround. And yes, you have to be serviceful. You have to do some sort of voluntary work or unconditionally be in service to the less fortunate ones. If from the D1 chart, your first lord in the D9 is placed in the 7th house. So friends, it's a very good placement, especially when we talk about growth through relationship. So for your fortune awakening or for the major activation of major events in your life, other people might play a very significant role. If in the D9 chart, your ascendant chart like D1 charts, ascendant lord, first lord in the D9 is placed in the 8th house, it will talk about the initiation. It will talk about the occult rebirth. We generally say, friends, that the more disciplined you are going to be, the more meditative you are going to be. So you will be able to handle any changes, any sudden changes with grace. Because if the D1 chart in the D9 is placed in the 8th house, it also talks about that behind the scene, luck fluctuate a lot. Like without you being prepared or aware or ready about it, suddenly things fluctuate from behind the scene. Now friends, if in the D9 chart, your ascendant lord from the D1 is placed in the 9th house, so friends, it will talk about the true dharma. It will talk about the guru grace. Like if you were to ask me, this is one of the very best placement. So no matter what script, what life script your D1 chart ascendant lord is revealing, is telling about, looking at the same planet in the D9 chart in its 9th house placement is giving us this indication that luck will always support you. The grace of the guru or blessing of your ancestors will always show you the path. Now friends, if in the D9 chart, your main ascendant chart, D1 chart's ascendant lord is placed in the 10th house in the D9, it will talk about dharma through work. And generally we say this thing that whatever path is meant for you, life will keep on unfolding itself on its own. But yes, divine surrender is very important. And with this kind of placement, like let's say for example, if you are very religious, you have a teacher, you have a mentor, you have a guide, these people play a very significant role in showing you the right path meant for you. Friends, if in the D9 chart, your D1 chart's ascendant lord is placed in the D9 in the 11th house, it will talk about the fulfillment through collective good. Like how you fit in the society, in the community plays a very significant role. And I generally recommend people in the consultation that if you have this kind of placement, always keep your higher goals. Like don't just make your life centered only to your personal goals. Only if you will make some higher goals that okay, I need to do this for the society, I need to provide this to the less fortunate ones, the whole universe comes to your aid, comes to your help. And this is also a very good placement where luck plays a very significant role for your wish fulfillment. And friends, if in the D9 chart, from the main D1 ascendant chart, the first lord in the D9 is placed in the 12th house, it will talk about the liberation. It will talk about the surrender. It will talk about the moksha level of purification of your Ascendant Lord. Like this could be a person where, like, when he will lose everything, lose all the hope, and completely surrender himself to the divine will, that is when the magic and the miracle will start happening. So friends, the most important advanced pattern which you have to understand is, see, for example, the pattern 1 is, if the Lagna Lord is weak in the D1 but it is strong in the D9, it will talk about that you might have early struggle, you might have late rise, you have a soul-centric destiny. Your life drastically improves after 32 or 36. So like majorly after 36 years of the age, your life will improve. So this is a typical classic tapasvi chart kind of alignment. Now another pattern could be that your Lagna Lord is strong in the D1 but it is weak in the D9. Then it will talk about early success. It will talk about inner dissatisfaction. It will talk about the ego test. It will talk about relationship or faith crisis or need for humility. And let's say, for example, if your Lagna Lord is in the same sign, in the D1 and the D9, it's like kind of a Vargottam placement, right? So it will talk about the karmic continuity. So karmic continuity, no escape from one's path, strong identity, life repeatedly pushes same lesson, and this talks about either great mastery or great suffering. So friends, the Gemini perspective is like the typical Atma Karaka overlay. In Gemini, it tells about that the Lagna Lord shows the path and the Atma Karaka shows the lesson. And if Lagna Lord is also your Atma Karaka, the soul itself becomes the battlefield. And if Lagna Lord is associated with Atma Karaka planet in the D9 chart, then it will talk about an intense life, strong spiritual calling, or destiny tied to self-realization. Friends, Bhagavad Gita talks about the philosophical seal of Bhagavad Gita says, Swadharma Nidhanam Shreya. Better to fail in one's own dharma than succeed in another's. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 shlok number 35. D1 shows Swadharma as action. D9 shows Swadharma as realization. Like self-dharma as action in D1 and self-dharma as realization in the D9. So if your Lagna Lord in the D9 aligns with the Sattva energy, it will give you peace. If your Lagna Lord in the D9 aligns with the Rajas energy, it will give you growth through struggle. And if it is getting aligned with the Tamas energy, it will give you karmic clearing. So friends, as many times people talk about like the future karmas, the pending karmas. So even if you have to establish a connection between the D1 and the D9, I will give you a core principle to decode this, right? So the D1 Lagna Lord talks about the Prārabdha karma. That means it is the synopsis, it is the collective summary of all the actions done by you in the past many lifetimes. And based on the zodiac sign and the planet, you can get a gist of it. So for example, friends, if in your D1 you are a Taurus Lagna, so it will give indication regarding the family karmas, it will talk about the wealth karmas, it will talk about the loyalty and the commitment karmas. So this is what we get to know from the D1 Lagna Lord, right? The D9, in the D9 Navāṁśa, the D9's Lagna Lord tells more about the Kriyaman karma, which will lead towards the Agami karma. So it simply means that D1 chart tells about what you must face and D9 chart tells about what you are becoming. So if D9 is higher, soul is progressing. If D9 is lower, soul must repay the debts. And friends, the final synthesis of this whole discussion is that your true life purpose is not found in career alone, marriage alone, or wealth alone. It is found where Lagna Lord's D1 responsibility meets the Lagna Lord's D9 refinement, and that intersection is your calling. That intersection is your dharma and your path of liberation through life. So friends, the closing thought, like if I were to give it to you, typically purely in the Upanishadic tone. So you're not here to escape karma, you are here to fulfill it consciously. The Ascendant Lord shows how and the Navāṁśa shows why. So okay friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Once again, thanks a lot for watching this video. Like the way I always say, it's a research platform. We all learn from each other. Your inputs, your comments, your practical observation actually add a lot of the layers to my research as well. So let's say for example, if your Ascendant Lord in the D1 chart, it is placed in the 9th house, like which is actually talking about you being very fortunate, or your Ascendant Lord being placed in the 10th house, it is talking about you being very career oriented. But if the same planet is kind of placed in the 6th house in the D9 chart, it is placed in the 12th house in the D9 chart, how your life has turned around because of this D9 placement. So do write that in the comment section. So okay friends, for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Dhanyavad.